Good evening. Alright, so today we're doing something a little bit different. I am going to be sweeping some parking lots, getting all the sand off of them that we were spreading out throughout the winter. So we're just going to sweep the parking lots off. We're going to do the storage facility tonight. I think we're supposed to do the church later on this week. So I'm going to get my machine unloaded and we're going to get started. And we'll get the parking lot all cleaned up for them. Late night last night. I finished up about 3 o'clock this morning. It's about 11 now. Dragging my butt a little bit this morning. It's been a while since I've had to go super late, especially on the Sunday. Yeah, it was not prime conditions for doing that last night. This thing needs a bath. Something terrible. Just take a look at it. It is just caked like an inch deep with sand and dust. Good. I'm going to continue trying to get that engine ready and hopefully get that engine finished up in the next day or so. We got to go do the church sand, clean the sand out of the parking lot with the church, and yeah, that'll be this weekend. I think it's Monday now. Been a bit of a slower day today, seeing as how I was up till about 3:30 this morning. So I'll be moving a little bit slow today. All right, so carrying on from last time, we got the heads in. We got it hooked up to the engine hoist because that thing is heavy, and getting it down off of the engine block is one thing. Lifting it back up and on, that's a lot harder. So I'm going to remove this step just to make it a little bit easier to get the engine hoist in there, let the head down. And also what we're going to do is I'm going to take a couple bolts that fit in the block. They thread in. I'm going to cut the head off of the bolt just so that we have a lining stud, so that when we go to set this down on top of the head gasket, it doesn't shift or slide and possibly wreck the head gasket. So a little bit of a tip, if anyone's doing this at home or anything like that, could just get a bolt that fits in the block. Don't do it with your head bolts, obviously, unless you're getting a new set of head bolts or studs. But this one has bolts. Usually if you're replacing these, you'd use the original studs. You'd cut the top off, make a groove in the top so you could tighten them or loosen them with a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, and have yourself some lining bolts to put the head down. That's what we're going for. Make a notch in it. That way you can stick a screwdriver in the top, turn it.
jamming up on the backside. There we go. Okay. And we're there.
You stuck the lining bolt in the hole, you can reach it, right?
Yeah, with a screwdriver. No.
Just. You'll be able to get it with a magnet.
Okay.
Flathead screwdriver and a magnet.
Magnetic flat. Well, it's a good thing you cut slots in.
Last injector. You're still within shot.
I am not.
Dad'll be able to see you texting.
You
on the
can't
job.
prove nothing.
No? I guess that's true. Video evidence doesn't mean anything anymore.
Especially when I'm waiting for you to finally do your job.
Just gotta get this last injector in. Then we're flying.
Then we're going for lunch.
Use our specialty homemade tool.
Listen here, Sonny.
Hold that injector.
Let me teach you the proper way to torque a nut.
You're really gonna have to hold it because it's already straight. So there we go. Okay, exhaust 28 thou. I'd say that's about where we are.
Yep, that's good then.
Okay. Intake, we're looking at about 16. To 20. Start at 16. Was hurting my back. Laying on a rock.
Oh, there's a laying on a socket.
So, minor setback we had earlier today. Found out that the head bolts were actually supposed to be torqued to 135 pounds. We torqued them to 115. Because the manual says 115. And then after you're finished rebuilding the engine, run it at 2100 RPM for half an hour. And then pull the entire top end of the engine apart again and retorque the head. So basically you would take everything that goes over top of this yet and pull it off just so you can retorque the head bolts another 20 pounds. So I phoned up John Deere. Thankfully they're pretty good about giving away certain information, but I talked to him, explained to him the situation, that it's a used tractor. The head bolts are from the 70s, so there's no stretch left in them. So I explained to him that. He said, yeah, just torque it down to 135 pounds. So for anyone who is working on an older machine who is not putting in brand new head bolts, torque it down to the final torque spec, which is 135 pounds on this machine anyway for 4430. So that was good to know. That set us back a little bit because we pulled all the injectors out and the rocker assembly out. Retorque everything again. Check it over. I did it 3 times. I triple checked it. I didn't want to make sure I missed anything because that's a lot of work to tear it apart to get to that point to retorque the heads. So thankfully they were good about it and said what to do. I kind of figured, but I didn't want to do it, and then come to find out I'd have to do it again anyway. So that came right from John Deere. That's what their guys would do on a machine that was this old. Unless you're replacing the head bolts with brand new head bolts that are not stretched yet, that's what you do. If they're brand new, you got to torque them to 115, finish rebuilding the engine, fire it up, run it for half an hour at almost full throttle, so 2100 RPM I believe it said, and then shut her down, pull the entire top end of the engine again apart and retorque them. So kind of sucks, a little bit of a setback today, not a big deal. We did make a lot of progress. We got that all torqued down. We got the injectors put back in. We got our cover plates and everything put back on the front here. Rocker assemblies torqued down. Valves are adjusted. And oil pan's back on. So that's as far as we got today. I think we would have got a little bit further if we didn't have to take everything apart and retorque. But that's just how it goes some days. Not everything's perfect. So hopefully we'll have it up and running tomorrow.